Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Natalia Leigh. I'm an indie author and the managing editor at Enchanted Ink Publishing, and welcome to yet another writing vlog. Today is Thursday, October 26th. It is the afternoon. I finished all of my editing and admin work for the day, and I did some social media stuff, worked on editing a YouTube video, and now we're gonna get some writing done. So first things first, I'm still kind of fighting off the tail end of my cold and my throat is still a little bit sore. So I'm going to go pour myself a tea. I'm gonna have some throat coat tea, and then I'm going to grab my laptop and we're gonna head out to the living room. For anyone who needs to get caught up a little bit on what I have been working on, like I said earlier in this video, recently published the first book in my paranormal romance trilogy, and I am now working on book 2. I am really nearing completion of this book, but this is still the first draft. I have been hoping to get it finished before NaNoWriMo arrives, but then I got sick and I didn't write for like a week, and that really slowed me down. I keep taking off my glasses because the glare is so bad, but let me put my glasses back on and I'll get my manuscript pulled up and we can see where I'm sitting in terms of word count, chapter outline breakdown, and all that good stuff. All right, so I am currently working on chapter 23, and I'm sitting at 41,381 words. So at this point, I actually have 28 planned chapters, which is fun because that just kind of keeps on growing instead of shrinking like it did in book 1. And then let me actually go grab my copy of Save the Cat because I don't have these other chapters kind of like marked as what they're supposed to be in terms of story beats. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have my old beat up version of Save the Cat Writes a Novel. I have a bunch of like sticky notes in here from when I was outlining Whiskey City earlier this year. That went really well too. I just realized when I picked this up that I'm using some beats from Save the Cat, but then I'm also using some beats from the 3-act, 9-block, 27-chapter structure as well. I will link that down below if you're curious about that. Okay, so having read back over this outline, I do think it's possible to wrap up this story earlier. So I currently have 28 chapters in my outline. However, the battle happens in chapter 23, which I'm working on now. Chapter 24 is kind of the falling action, and then chapter 25 can easily be the climax of this story. Honestly, like it feels like, so at this point I am feeling like chapter 25 could wrap up the story. However, I'm also feeling like if I do that, this story will probably only be about 50,000 words, at least in the first draft, which is a little bit short for me. Like, I would have liked for book 2 to be longer, but at the same time, maybe I can look at chapters 26, 27, and 28 and see if there's anything from those chapters that I can disperse earlier in the story. Because it just feels like I could bulk up the conflict and tension and all that good stuff earlier in the book, but I'm thinking that the pacing is going to be off if I put all of this after that main battle, because we're typically used to, you know, the battle happening and then that falling action and then the resolution and the story wraps up. And I know that not every story follows that formula, but many readers are accustomed to that. So I don't know if stepping outside of those guidelines would result in readers being unhappy with how the story ends. So I am going to, I'm gonna look at this a little bit more, but this is definitely making me feel like I could wrap up this story quite a bit earlier than I've been expecting this whole time. Okay, I have been sitting here, it is 4:30, so I have been sitting here for almost an hour and a half and I have not written anything because I have been going back over and over and over my outline and Save the Cat and the 3 Act 9 Block 27 chapter outline structure, and I have discovered that my structure is really, really off. Like, there is a lot going wrong with this outline, and it's unfortunate, but I'm not that surprised because, as I've stated in my videos probably 100 times, outlining is really hard for me. It doesn't come naturally to me, and story structure is something that I have struggled with, even though I have written like 9 books at this point. So it continues to be something that is really difficult for me. And I, of course, have this whole book outlined, and then I was lying in bed last night thinking, I think something is wrong. And then I returned to it today, and that's why I immediately started talking to you about, I think I need to go back to this outline, and I was right. So essentially the problem is that I spend way too much time, there are a few problems. One, I spend way too much time getting to the midpoint, and then there's not enough story after the midpoint for that midpoint to actually be halfway through the book. Like, the midpoint can't happen at, 30,000 words and then suddenly the book is complete at 45,000 words. That pacing is off, and pacing is something that I know I need to work on as well. I have read in reviews of Song of the Dryad, Pistol Daisy, this new book, that I'm a bit of a slow pace writer. And I don't think a slow pace is necessarily bad if that's kind of your intention, but if it's not your intention and you're just kind of drifting through your plot, which is my problem, then it's not good. And one of my big struggles too within story structure and outlining has always been conflict. I have never been good at making bad things happen and knowing when to make bad things happen, and there is way too much good stuff happening in this book right now. But I've realized that another problem, a bigger problem probably, is that I really lost sight of the premise of this story. I wrote the blurb pretty early on. I think that can be really helpful. Writing a blurb for pantsers could even be like a very vague outline, so you're referring back to that and making sure that you are honoring the story that you are setting out to write. And what's happened is that I have not written the story that I set out to write. I have written a pretty different story, and it has to be fixed. Like, there's a lot that needs to be fixed now. This might be turning into an outlining vlog, 41,000 words in. I'm gonna go make myself something to eat, and then we're gonna get back to this because I am not going to be able to write a single word until I get this fixed. Hello friends, happy Saturday. It is Saturday morning at about 9 a.m. We're gonna go grocery shopping here in about an hour, but I wanted to get some writing going before we left. I'm on my second cup of coffee. I worked yesterday evening a little bit on my project, and after restructuring the outline and moving things around, changing up some scenes, I was feeling like, okay, I need to go back and fix things before I can continue forward, because changing one scene, changing one conversation can have ripple effects throughout an entire story. So I didn't want to move forward without going back first and fixing some things. So that's what I'm doing now. I revised chapter 2 last night. Chapter 2 or chapter 3? Chapter 2. I revised chapter 2. Having realized I got my inciting incident wrong, I moved the new inciting incident up to chapter 2, and this scene used to be in chapter 10. So I jumped it up 8 chapters, and I think that goes to show how much my pacing was off. So I went ahead and moved that inciting incident to chapter 2. I was able to add some conflict and tension right there in chapter 2, and I always love when I can add conflict because I have a hard time with conflict in my stories. My stories tend to be kind of slow moving and peaceful, and I am trying to make that not the case. So I am going to continue working. I need to write a brand new chapter 12 like from scratch. I need to write a brand new chapter 12. So I think that's what I'm going to get started on. And the heat is kicking on in the background, so you're gonna hear that now. So I'm gonna go ahead and start from scratch with chapter 12, get that written. I'm not panicking, but I'm slightly worried because I am participating in NaNoWriMo this year, and I have to figure out how I'm gonna make this all work while trying to fix the mistakes, or not mistakes, while trying to remedy and kind of fix the pacing in this first draft, while also wanting to participate in Nano in like 5 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days. So let's just get right to it, drink some coffee. It is cold out today, it's drizzly, and it's supposed to start snowing this afternoon. Got the fireplace going. It's a perfect morning to write. Okay, I wanted to give you guys a little update. It's much later in the day now. It is 3:30. Just poured myself a cup of sleepy time tea. I love this tea. And I actually changed up what I'm doing even since this morning when I talked to you. I think this morning I told you I need to go back and fix all the things before I can move forward, but I have changed my mind. And this is just the process with writing a book. Like, even though this is, I don't know, like my 9th book or something, it changes, my process changes every single time. There's never one consistent process that works for every single book. So this morning I was thinking I really need to go back and make these revisions before I can move forward. But what I ended up doing is going back, and I did make some revisions. Like, I think I told you that last night I went ahead and like moved the inciting incident up and all of that good stuff. But then what I did today was I scrolled through the document. Do you hear that? It's like thunder.
Yeah, it's snow.
It's thunder snow right now. That's the other thing I was going to mention is it is Saturday, today is October 28th, and we're officially having our first snow. It is snowing right now, and it is thunder snowing. So it was raining this morning, now it's thundering and snowing. I harvested all of my onions today, so those are drying back there. So winter is here. I think fall has departed and winter has arrived for us. It's literally snowing. But anyway, so what I ended up doing was going back through my manuscript and leaving marginal, I left marginal notes for myself, you know, like, okay, revise this for consistency, you know, regarding this scene or whatever. So I left all these marginal notes regarding what needed to be revised. And then I also went through and added actual scene notes. So for example, in, you know, chapter 20, I wrote, okay, I need a scene with these two characters here. And instead of writing that scene, I just left that as is. And then once I was done with all of that, I started writing again. And I am at almost 1,000 words for the day now. So I realized that going back through and adding these scenes and making revisions to make sure that everything is consistent and it's like one cohesive story, that's going to involve and require a full read through and a full edit to make sure that everything is where it needs to be. Everything has been, you know, the threads are being woven through the entire narrative, and that is not something that I'm ready to do right now. I want to finish this book and finish this first draft before I go and start making major revisions. So I've decided to just keep moving forward. Right now I am working on chapter 26 out of 28 planned chapters. And I think it could be possible to finish this first draft by Tuesday, by the end of October. And then at that point, I need to decide if it's a good idea to move forward with book 3 or if that would be a bad idea, and if it would be better to commit myself to finishing the second draft for Nano. I really want to write the third draft, and I've been saying for like a month now, I'm gonna write, or I really want to write the third book is what I meant. And I've been saying for a month now, like, I'm gonna write the third book during NaNoWriMo. But I wonder if that's a good use of my time, or if it would be a better use of my time to write draft 2 of book 2. So I'm gonna keep thinking on that. I'm going to have some tea and we're gonna just dive right back into chapter 26 and hopefully finishing this book in the next few days. Hello friends, good morning, happy Sunday. It's actually not morning anymore, it's 1:15. I've had a really nice, easygoing Sunday. I did do some editing work today. I did like 5 pages this morning. I got some admin work done today. I typically do not work on weekends, but Greg and I have some errands to run tomorrow on Monday. So because I won't have a full work day tomorrow, I went ahead and did a little bit of work today. But now we are going to transition into some writing. So I am gonna go ahead and get everything pulled up and let you know where we are sitting currently. I am sitting at 44,950 words. I am a sprinkle away from hitting 45,000. So that's gonna happen today. I'm currently working on the battle scene and it is chapter 26. And there are going to be 2 more chapters after this. So there's the big battle, and then there's the climax, and then there's the falling action and resolution, which will push us into book 3. So that's where we're at now. I'm feeling really good about it. I mean, I wrote so many words yesterday and it was easy. Like I was so excited about this and the words were just like flowing out of me. So I ended up writing, let me double check because I don't know if I told you yesterday. All right, so yesterday I wrote 1,770 words, so just over the NaNoWriMo minimum. Speaking of NaNoWriMo, I think I've changed my mind again. So we will certainly talk about that before this video ends. I think I'm actually gonna do something slightly different for Nano, just based on where I'm kind of at with this project. But we're sitting at 44,950, working on the big battle in chapter 26. And I'm gonna try to go ahead and finish chapter 26 today. That will leave chapters 27 and 28 to finish before November and NaNoWriMo arrive on Wednesday. And it's definitely gonna be a little bit of a struggle because like I said, Greg and I have some important things to do tomorrow. It's going to take up the majority of the day. So maybe I'll try to get a good start on chapter 27 today as well. We'll see. But without any further ado, I'm gonna get started writing. So I'm going to pour myself a tea here soon. I had some delicious caramel sea salt coffee this morning. We got a new coffee, so good. It's just been such a nice cozy day. So I'm gonna pour some tea, work on this book, and I will touch base with you in a little while. Okay, I'm not sure how this happened, but I literally just wrote 2,500 words. Exactly 2,500 words. That is the most I have written, I think, since I started this writing process again. 2,500 words, and it's only 4 p.m. Like, I wrote that so fast. I got completely swept up in the scene. I had so much fun with it, and I officially finished chapters 26 and 27. I ended up, the battle beat ended up being 2 chapters. So chapters 26 and 27 are the battle, and then the like immediate short-term falling action after the battle. And now I'm working on chapter 28, which will be the climax of the story, and then we'll have the resolution and kind of the final scene that leaves us on just enough of a cliffhanger to push us into book 3. So I am very, very near to the end of the first draft. I am sitting at 46,543 words. So once this book is done, I'm thinking 50,000 would probably be a pretty good estimate right now for this book being, for the first draft at least, being complete. At this point, I have changed my mind about Nano yet again. I think what I'm gonna do, instead of writing book 3, is do a non-traditional NaNoWriMo with the goal being to completely finish the second draft of this book. So what I would need to do essentially is track maybe like the chapters as I'm writing, like rewriting and revising them. And right now it's sitting at 29 chapters. So I could do that. That would be almost one chapter a day. And then maybe take like Thanksgiving off, because I love Thanksgiving. I absolutely love cooking all day, playing video games, just like eating and relaxing and having a great day. So that would actually be perfect. I would need to revise one chapter per day in November to finish the second draft. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. So that's where we're sitting. 2,500 words written today. I am so happy with that. It is just after 4. It's getting cold in my office. I wanna go put the horses' blankets back on, and I wanna go make dinner and stuff. So I'm gonna wrap it up for today, but we are gonna try really hard to finish this book by Tuesday so that we can start draft 2 on Wednesday. And from there, we're gonna be doing as many vlogs as possible. I'm gonna try for daily vlogs, or at least like every other day, something like that, throughout November, the month of November, throughout NaNoWriMo, and we will see how far I can get with this book. So thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you tomorrow on Monday, and we're gonna try to get this book finished. Hello friends, I am checking in. It is Tuesday evening and I have not written since Sunday. Now, Sunday was the awesome writing day where I wrote 2,500 words and it went so well. And then yesterday on Monday I had hoped to write, but Greg and I were gone a significant portion of the day. And by the time we got home, I just wanted to sit down, have a bite to eat, and essentially get ready for bed because I was so tired. And now it's Tuesday and I did a lot of work today. I did a bunch of admin work. I did a ton of pages for my copy editing client, because it is my goal to get that copy edit done a little bit early if possible, so that I can have a few days of just like super focused NaNoWriMo time. We'll see if I can pull that off. And now it is Tuesday evening. It's almost 6 o'clock. I have dinner going and I'm gonna get some writing done. Is it a very lofty and unrealistic goal to say I'd like to finish this book tonight? Yes, very much so. However, what I think I could do, just in like the spirit of NaNoWriMo and getting prepared for it to start tomorrow, is generally kind of get my scenes all set up, lightly write them, and then just essentially like do as much detail as I can before saying, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up for the night, and then starting fresh with NaNoWriMo tomorrow. I'm very hungry, so I'm going to kind of start working a little bit, get dinner going and finished, and then once I've had a chance to eat, I'll be able to really settle in, you know, get the horses fed, and then I pretty much just want to work for the next few hours, kind of until I'm ready to start getting ready for bed. I'm gonna skip all the Netflix tonight. No Netflix for me, just writing and prep for NaNoWriMo. This is the very last opportunity of Preptober to try to get this book finished before tomorrow. So let's go. I'm cooking up some potatoes and gravy. I'm gonna go work on that. Gonna get myself a glass of wine probably and a glass of water on the side because I can tell that I'm a bit dehydrated today. And we're gonna get going on chapters 28 and 29, last 2 chapters of this book. Wish me luck.